The film starts with a man being shot on the back and thrown in the water. While he's drowning, he thinks of the name Genji and how he has changed his life when they get to see Genji at his school. He looks at the wall and on a painting on it which says that Tamao Surizawa is the king in this high school. He climbs a ladder and writes his own name over Surizawa. It becomes apparent that this is not an ordinary school. The freshmen brawl each other on their first day. Yakuza members pay a visit at the school looking for Surizawa. They say he sent one of their members at the hospital, but at that time, Surizawa is not at school. He is riding a motorbike around the streets, and he is being hunted down by a cop. Genji walks up to the Yakuza members and beats them up. Surizawa ends up at the school riding the motorbike and crashes. He and Genji size up each other. The police join the scene and they arrest Surizawa. Genji is having a drink at a concert. A girl, Ruka, approaches him and asks him how he feels about continuously changing schools. Genji doesn't talk much, but the barman fills the silence by saying that Suzuran High School is the toughest school in the nation. Genji returns home and has a talk with his father. His father says that acting tough is not going to work in Suzuran. Genji says that he is going to conquer that school, unlike his father, and then he could be his successor in the organization. Surizawa asks his group of friends who deleted his name on the wall, and they say a freshman probably did it. The group agrees to not go after the freshman yet. They should take care of the other classes first. They play a board game, and Genji interrupts them by kicking their table down. He wants to fight Surizawa. They tell him he has to fight with a guy named Rinda first. If he beats up Rinda, he then can fight Surizawa. Genji agrees to this condition for this one time and walks away. Surizawa is now approached by two brothers who want to beat him up, but he is the one who wins the fight. Genji is approached by another member of the Yakuza, Ken, who came back to get revenge for his friends. He thinks Genji is Surizawa and attacks him, but gets punched in the belly. He then has a talk with Genji and says he is actually a Suzuran graduate. He came so close to ruling the school back then. Genji doesn't believe him, but Ken says that a good punch is not enough to rule the school. One also needs other virtues such as diplomacy and brains. Genji says he is new at this school and asks for his help in order to be the king of the school. Ken will help him, and his first advice is to take control of his own class. To do that, he has to make a great first impression in the loudest of ways possible. Genji walks in his class and challenges the strongest of his classmates. He beats him up and announces that now this class belongs to him. Ken returns back to his own Yakuza friends and they get a visit by their boss. He repeatedly slaps Ken because one of their rivals has been making moves on their territory. He blames it all on Ken. Surizawa has a talk with Tokyo, a guy from his class and group. Tokyo says that he used to know Genji from junior high, and they used to be friends, but he is ready to take on him if necessary. Surizawa says that anyone who will dare to challenge them will be crushed. Genji meets with Ken once more. This time he has brought Chuta along, a student from Class E. Ken asks Chuta how things work at Suzuran nowadays. Chuta presents the strongest guys from each class and Surizawa's most worthy rivals. Chuta also presents Surizawa's team. Ken concludes that Surizawa and his team can't be faced with brute force just yet, so Ken has to utilize the power of teaming up. To do that, he tells Genji and Chuta to find some girls. Genji meets with Makazi, the leader of Class C, and invites him to a group date. Makazi has fought Surizawa many times, even though he has always lost. Ruka brings two of her friends and the group date takes place, but turns out to be a complete disaster. It ends up with Chuta getting his eye poked with a fork. Although the date was a disaster, things end up on an up note for Genji, Ken, and Makazi. They have a good laugh together. When they take their own ways, Makazi stops Genji and tells him that Class C will stand with him. Surizawa hears the news that Makazi now follows Genji. Rumor has it that Makasi is also trying to take Izaki and his gang on his side. Suizawa says it doesn't really matter. They will beat all of them up. He takes a look at Tokyo, who verbally agrees with him, but his body language shows different. Genji meets with Izaki, who tells him he will join forces with them only if he gets to fight Suizawa when the time comes. But right next, Izaki calls Genji naive and says war is not fair. He brings his whole gang and they jump on Genji. Genji fights with the heart of a lion, but he can't keep going forever against that many enemies. Genji collapses down and Izaki carries him to Makasi and Chuta. Izaki asks Makasi why he follows Genji. Makasi answers that he follows him due to a reason that he can't easily explain. Izaki leaves and asks Makasi to deliver his words to Genji when he wakes up. He will teach Genji how to throw darts tomorrow. Genji walks with Ken. Ken is in a very good mood because he gets to fulfill his dream of ruling the school of crows through Genji. They stumble upon Ruka. A group of youngsters are threatening her with a knife. Genji and Ken interrupt them. Ken tells Genji to take Ruka and go. Genji is not sure about it, but Ken insists. Genji and Ruka leave. Ken stays back and forces those guys to fight him. He gets a beating, and the detective finds him later on, sitting on an alley and trying to pull himself together. The detective tells him that he needs to grow up. He is too old for this. The School of Crows should have taught him something, but maybe Ken didn't learn anything because he dropped out of that school. The detective walks away, leaving Ken crying in a desperate state. Genji is chilling with Ruka and calls Ken to ask him if he's okay. Ken says everything is fine. He scared those thugs away. Genji tells Ruka he's sorry about the other day on the group date. Genji and Izaki officially team up. Suizawa and Tokyo witness the two groups mingling together, and Suizawa comments that they can't overlook these guys anymore. Suizawa's team attacks Izaki. Genji asks Izaki who did it, but Izaki says he fell. Of course, Genji doesn't believe him and wants to fight Suizawa, but Makasi stops him and says they are still outnumbered. They should not fight now, because if Genji loses, it will mean defeat for all of them. Genji and Makasi are having a beer at their local bar when Tokyo and Suizawa walk in. They walk up to each other and are ready to fight. The owner asks them to take it out. Tokyo gets in the way and tells Suizawa that this fight must not take place here. Genji screams at him to get out of the way. Tokyo is experiencing a sudden pain and he collapses. Suizawa takes Tokyo to the hospital. The doctor tells Tokyo that he has to be operated. But this kind of operation has only a 30% possibility of success. Tokyo says he is going to live life 100% from now on. Meanwhile, Genji is trying to recruit more people and does so by violence. Makasi tells him that this is not the right way to do it, and he cannot follow him if he doesn't think clearly. Genji has a talk with Ken. Ken tells him to not be a loser like him. He is better. He should not give up. In addition, Genji tells Ken his father's name, who happens to be Ken's boss's rival. Tokaji, one of Suizawa's men, has a talk with Bando, a tough guy from the school and leader of a biker's gang, who wants to take down Suizawa. Tokaji tells him that he will lend him some muscle if he does him a favor. Tokaji throws a picture of Ruka on the table. Ken is called by his boss and is given a gun. His boss asks him to kill Genji with it. Ken meets with Genji, but can't shoot him. He considers him a friend who opened his eyes and gave him a spark of life. Ken visits Genji's father and tells him everything about the order he received. He gives him a letter and asks him to give it to Genji. Bando and his gang kidnap Ruka and her friends. Ruka is able to use her phone and calls Genji. She tells him they got kidnapped by a gang who wears leather jackets with skulls on their back. Makasi realizes that these must be Bando and his gang. He knows where they hang out. Genji and the rest of the team go to a warehouse and they find Bando and his men. They fight them and beat them up, but these guys have no skulls on their back of their jackets. Bando tells Genji that they were hired by Takashi and that's where Ruka is. He gives Genji Takashi's location. Genji and the team go to Takashi's location, and they find Zuizawa there as well. But Zuizawa has no idea about the kidnapping. He turns against Takashi and tells him he would prefer to lose rather than pull a dirty trick like this. Genji and Zuizawa stick face to face and say there is only one thing left to do. Their fight is going to take place tomorrow at 5 at their school. Genji returns home and reads Ken's letter. His father lets him know that Ken disobeyed his boss's order to kill him. There is nothing that Genji can do except for respect Ken's wishes and carry them on. Genji's team and Zuizawa's team meet for their big fight. At the same time, Tokyo is being operated. The fight starts, and Zuizawa's team gets the upper hand in the beginning, but the tables turn soon when Bando and his crew join forces with Genji. The fight continues on and on. Ken's boss and his men take Ken to a port. The boss gives him his suit and asks him if he regrets being in Yakuza. Ken says no and soon kneels at the edge of the dock. The film cycles back to the first scene. The boss says that this is not personal, he just needs to set an example. He shoots Ken 3 times, and Ken falls in the water. Ken thinks about Genji, and how meeting him changed his life. Ken closes his eyes, but soon opens them again. He swims up to the dock and gets out of the water. He takes off the suit that the boss gave him, and realizes that this is a bulletproof suit. Ken is alive, and he walks away. The fight has reached a point where all of the students are down except Zuizawa and Genji. They are the last men standing. They fight for a long time, and Genji eventually drops Zuizawa and wins. Zuizawa gets a phone call from the hospital, and they tell him that Tokyo is okay. The film ends with Rinda meeting Genji. Rinda says that there is no such thing as conquering Suzuran. There is always someone new who comes in to challenge you. Genji says that his ruling will not be complete until he beats Rinda. They fight for a short round, and Rinda wins it. Genji gets up, accelerates, and jumps high to fight Rinda. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel grow. Thank you.